Live from the heart of America, I'm Steve Gruber, ready to deliver an inclusive and diverse discussion on the most important topics of the day, giving you better analysis and insight than, well, anyone else. Shining a spotlight on the cockroaches of the swamp and delivering truth and justice just when hope was starting to fade. Here are three big things you need to know to start your day. Number one, Mitch McConnell remains hospitalized after taking a tumble earlier this week. Apparently he's got a concussion. What is that, 3 senators out of service in the hospital? Maybe there should be. Aptitude test. Number two, the State Department warning millions of Americans to avoid Mexico, especially the college kids with their eyes on spring break. Maybe that is the way to finally fix the border crisis. Hit them in the wallet. And number three, one hell of a week, once again, in trying to slay the dragons of socialism. Spewing the fire of propaganda can be quite a task, but I have been wearing, I've got my fireproof britches on. So I don't think what you're smelling is actually burnt hair, not mine anyway. So that's good news, right? One of the biggest attacks was left-wingers trying desperately to end the narrative on the Twitter files. The series of articles that began with journalist Matt Taibbi, who has had, 7 New York Times bestsellers, numerous awards for his excellence in writing, but was smeared as a so-called journalist by the ranking Democrat yesterday. Remember, that's always the play. Discredit the witness. Smear and slander the witness to undermine whatever it is that they're about to say under oath and in front of Congress that makes you look bad. Just smear them, right? In this case, Taibbi and others were there to tell the truth about how Twitter was operating as an extension of the FBI, the Joe Biden campaign, and really his administration and a host of other media outlets to boot. You see, Twitter wasn't functioning as Twitter. It was the propaganda arm of the DNC. It was the propaganda arm of the government. It was the propaganda arm of Joe Biden's administration, and therefore they had to be silenced. The voices on there that disagreed with Joe Biden or called it as it was and said what they meant. And I've talked about this many times. My Twitter account used to sneak up to about 10,000 and bam, it'd be at 6,000. Sneak up and bam, could never make it. Just always kind of, write a, and so you never get any attention, right? Well, Matt Taibbi became well known as the first one to report how the government, including the FBI, and Joe Biden's inner circle under pressure tactics to silence anyone with a conservative point of view, and many on the left too, by the way. Taibbi testified in front of Congress and began with a full-throated defense of free speech, as he should. Here he is on Capitol Hill yesterday. Listen.
I'm here today because of a series of events that began late last year when I received a note from a source online. It read, "Are you interested in doing a deep dive into what censorship and manipulation was going on at Twitter?" A week later, the first of what became known as the Twitter Files reports came out. To say these attracted intense public interest would be an understatement. My computer looked like a Vegas slot machine as just the first tweet about the blockage of the Hunter Biden laptop story registered 143 million impressions and 30 million engagements. But it wasn't until a week after the first report, after Michael Schellenberger, Barry Weiss, and other researchers joined the search of the files, that we started to grasp the significance of this story. The original promise of the internet was that it might democratize the exchange of information globally. A free internet would overwhelm all attempts to control information flow, its very existence a threat to anti-democratic forms of government everywhere.
But that's not how it was used, is it? No. The internet wasn't a threat to anti-democratic institutions everywhere. It became a threat to those claiming that they cared about democracy. And something that caught Democrats off guard was when Taibbi pointed out how dangerous censorship is and made it clear. It's indiscriminate. It can hurt everyone. When it came to Twitter, he says it did hurt everyone. Listen.
Again, Ranking Member Plaskett, I would note that the evidence of Twitter-government relationship includes lists of tens of thousands of names on both the left and right. The people affected include Trump supporters, but also left-leaning sites like Consortium and Truthout, the leftist South American channel Telesur, the Yellow Vest movement. That, in fact, is a key point of the Twitter files, that it's neither a left nor right issue. Following the trail of communications between Twitter and the federal government across tens of thousands of emails led to a series of revelations. Mr. Chairman, we summarized and submitted them to the committee in the form of a new Twitter files thread, which was also released to the public this morning. We learned Twitter, Facebook, Google, and other companies developed a formal system for taking in moderation requests from every corner of government, from the FBI, the DHS, the HHS, DOD, the Global Engagement Center at State, even the CIA. For every government agency scanning Twitter, there were perhaps 20 quasi-private entities doing the same thing, including Stanford's Election Integrity Partnership, NewsGuard, the Global Disinformation Index, and many others, many taxpayer-funded.
Mind-blowing, isn't it? Every government agency in the Biden administration basically had an open door to go to Twitter and say, yeah, take that down as disinformation, whether it was or wasn't, even if it was spot on. Malinformation is the new term, malinformation. What's that? It's information that's true, but they don't like it. Misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. You'll hear these things going forward, so I make you aware. Malinformation just simply means they didn't like it. Joe Biden is old. Well, that's malinformation. Joe Biden is old and senile and has a dirty diaper. Well, that's malinformation. You see how that works. And then we heard something that's becoming more and more common as the socialists bang the drums of war on free speech and target anyone who dares think or say something they might not agree with, and that is, he was not raised a conservative, nor is he one now. He's more of an old-school John F. Kennedy liberal, is Matt Taibbi. Pretty shocking, an ACLU liberal. And the idea of wholesale censorship by thought police is shocking to him. Listen.
Undeniably, the making of such lists is a form of digital McCarthyism. Ordinary Americans are not just being reported to Twitter for de-amplification or deplatforming, but to firms like PayPal, digital advertisers like Xandr, and crowdfunding sites like GoFundMe. These companies can and do refuse service to law-abiding people and businesses whose only crime is falling afoul of a distant, faceless, unaccountable, algorithmic judge. As someone who grew up a traditional ACLU liberal, this mechanism for punishment and deprivation without due process is horrifying.
Horrifying. I completely agree. It's absolutely horrifying. How on earth can we live in an America where censorship is not only condoned, it's encouraged, it's cheered on, it's worshipped by those inside the swamp? Get rid of that. Clean that. Target that individual and that one. Would you be surprised at all to learn that I were on that list? I wouldn't. Or that they've gone further. Remember James Rosen, Cheryl Atkinson, their computers on their desks at work when they were doing work as reporters at CBS News and Fox News during the Obama administration were spied on directly. They had hacked into their computers to see who they were talking to, who their emails were going to, what the stories were that they were writing. James Rosen, Fox News, Cheryl Atkinson, CBS, both have since left to do other things. Directly targeted, and that was during the Barack Obama administration. What are the capabilities today? Do I have any reason to think that my computer is secure, or yours, or anyone's for that matter? But certainly people that stir the pot, which is why my Twitter account, until Elon Musk got here, could never break 10,000. Follow me on Twitter today, though, at the Steve Gruber Show, or at Steve Gruber Show. Follow me today. Let's grow this thing. I've got more after the break.